Here we go. We'll just wait for this to start. A few more people coming in, guys, and then we'll get cracking. All right. Okay, let's get started now. Okay, so here we are. We are continuing with OET writing and language. So today what we're going to have a look at is articles. Yesterday we had a look at punctuation. So basically I'm just trying to tidy up all those little things that we tend to get wrong or tend to have a few issues with. Articles is definitely something that we do get wrong, and it sort of ties in with a concept about countable and uncountable nouns. And it's something that I think just needs to be repeated every now and then, because I think we forget about it. What often happens, as I've said before in classes, what often happens is that when we focus on one thing, we forget others. Now, when I'm speaking, I don't think about articles. I don't. It's not something that ever occurs to me while I'm speaking or while I'm writing. But that's because I've practiced it millions and millions of times, and you guys haven't. So it's practice that does it, and there's a certain amount of repetition when it comes to practice, which is a bit boring, but in the end, it pays off because it improves your fluency, it reduces how many errors you make, and it means that you can focus on the task rather than having to think all the time about, oh, should I put an article here? So what we'll do today is we'll introduce articles. We'll talk about countable and uncountable nouns. We'll do a quick exercise, which always causes controversy, which is great. I don't mind, because I want us to discuss it. And then we've got a couple of exercises to do, okay, after that. So let's get started then. Now, I know that we've probably got some people here who feel like they're experts on articles because you've covered it before, you've looked at it. So that's fine. I don't mind that. Okay, but just bear in mind there might be some people here that might not be as expert as you are on it. So let's open here. Okay, so first thing, there are 3 different articles. There are 3 different articles. Put your hand up if you think that you know the 3 different types of articles. Okay, let's go. Andrea, what are the 3 different articles, please?
Hello.
Hi.
It's a, am, and the.
Okay, so you've fallen into my trap. Because actually, that's only 2 types of articles. I know it looks like 3, but actually, it's only 2. Because a and an are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No,
We've also got
indefinite and zero.
Yes, we've got to think about the types here. Okay, so we've got 0, which means no article.
Oh, actually not.
Oops. Yeah, which means no article. We've got a and an, which is the indefinite article. Okay, and then we've got the, which is called what, guys? Anyone know?
Definite article.
The definite article. Exactly, yeah. Okay, the definite article. Typing things in the wrong place here. Okay, yeah. So the definite article. Now, if you're not really sure about what that means, don't worry. We're going to go through all 3 of them today. Okay. It seems confusing to begin with, but it's not. So let's look at this. First of all, I'm going to give everyone 30 seconds. 30 seconds just to review what I've written there, that short phrase, that short statement there. 30 seconds starts now. Just read it, please. Okay, so we've all had 30 seconds there. Now, there are a number of verbs in this sentence, or in these two sentences. So let me ask, Sophia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Paul.
Hi,
Good morning.
Sophia. Okay, help me with the verbs. Where are the verbs?
The verbs are like minor,
No, that's an adjective. Verbs are
underwent,
yeah, underwent is let's put underwent in red. Okay, let's put underwent in red. Okay, was, yeah, was is another one. Okay, next one.
Managing.
Managing, yeah, okay. So was is one, it's is managing. Okay, is managing because it is what tense, everyone?
Progressive.
Continuous.
Present continuous, present progressive. Sometimes people call it progressive. Yeah. Okay. So we've got these are the verbs. Okay. Underwent, was, is managing. Okay, that's good. So let's take all of those off. That's good. We've got that. So what we should also be aware of is where the nouns are. And I'm including pronouns as well. So let's go for Catalin. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. So give me some nouns. Where can you see nouns, including pronouns?
A minor operation.
Minor operation.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Minor operation.
So minor operation, that's a noun. Yeah, okay. Mrs. Smith? That's a noun, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Any more? No writing on the screen, guys. I'm talking to Catalin. Okay. Left toe.
Left toe.
Yeah, her left toe. Okay, that one's
The
there.
total, yeah. It.
It is a good one. Pronoun. Just Catalin, guys. Okay.
And, she.
She is a good one. That's another pronoun, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Verb. Managing. Her. No. Pain. Her pain.
Yeah, her pain. I like that. Yeah, okay. And
Paracetamol.
paracetamol. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so look at what we've got here, guys. We've got loads of nouns. Now, nouns are always subjects or objects in sentences. Okay, something's always happening to them or they're doing something. Okay, we'll cover this again in a few weeks. Every time we use a noun, we're making a decision about whether we use an article. Always. Just like with verbs, you're always making a decision. What tense is it? Is it passive or active? What's the subject-verb agreement? With nouns, you're always deciding, should I put an article in front of it or another type of word, which we can see here. So let's just see if we can find any articles. So can we find any at or an? Yes. There we go. We've got at there. Any other at or an? No.
No.
No, there aren't any. Okay. Now, have we got any the?
No.
We don't have any the, do we? We don't have any definite.
No.
Can anyone think of a place where I could put it?
Instead of it?
It, the, here, the
No.
was successful.
No.
The paracetamol.
You've got the right idea. What would it be? You'd have to say the
The operation, I mean.
yeah. Yeah, you could put here the pain. Let's no more writing on the screen for the time being, guys. Okay, it's a bit distracting. Okay, so here you could put the here as well. You wouldn't put it here. Okay, you wouldn't put it there. Okay, you wouldn't put it there, but you could put it here and you could do this. All right, but we haven't. Okay, we didn't do that. Okay, we'll talk about why later. Now, her. What type of word is that?
So position.
Possessive pronoun.
Possessive pronoun.
Not a possessive pronoun. It's called a possessive adjective.
Adjective.
Okay, his, her,
Yeah.
their,
Yeah.
my,
Your.
our. Okay,
Your.
all of these come before a noun, and it denotes the possession. Now, if you think about it, you're really only going to use his or her, aren't you, in OET writing? His or her. You're not going to use their, because you don't write about multiple patients, do you? So I don't think that's a problem. And you never say our, really. Do you say our? Our? Possibly, I guess you might do it in OET writing, but very unlikely. And you don't say my. So you might be tempted to say my provisional diagnosis is, but you wouldn't. You would say the provisional diagnosis. Okay, so let's look at this. Every single time you have to choose when you use a noun if you're going to use an article or not. Now there are situations here where we haven't used an article. For instance, we don't say a Mrs. Smith or the Mrs. Smith. Okay, we don't say the it or a it. Here we didn't say the paracetamol or a paracetamol. So there are times when we don't, there are times when we do. Okay, we don't say the paracetamol in this sentence. So there are choices to be made all the time. And often we see people making mistakes with this in their writing. So let's go and have a look at it. Let's start with, let's get rid of these little dots that we've got on the screen here. Let's start with the zero article. Okay, did someone have a question there? Safi, have you got a question?
Yes, regarding the it was successful.
Yeah.
Can we say that was successful?
No, people, you wouldn't really use it like that. You'd say a minor operation that on a left toe that was successful in one sentence like that. And then basically this becomes a whole noun phrase. Then it's a defining relative clause, but generally, no, you wouldn't start a sentence with that was successful.
Thank you.
Saki, have you got a question?
Yeah, my question was regarding the her, replace the pronoun. You said it is not useful to put the article there as a because usually we put article with the body part. Operation on the left toe.
Unfortunately, how many left toes does she have?
Yeah, that's okay. That is very strict. But in case if we remove, for example, not put her and put that, would it be wrong?
I know, yeah, but how many left toes does she have?
Yeah.
She's got multiple. If it was liver, then the liver, it works. Because you only have one, don't you? So
I see.
It does make sense when you do it like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we do see it. I think it's a good point really that Saki raises, because this is my theory, okay? I think that the language of medicine has become, in English, has become so international because we've got so many non-native speakers working in the field of medicine, and also that the language, English language has become the international language of medicine. That what's happened is, over time, I think that it has been almost in a democratic way, the language has become easier for people to use. That's why we see some words, like we're going to see later on, being used as both countable and uncountable, when native speakers probably would only use them as uncountable. And I think that that's what's happened. And I think that that's definitely something that's happened with the articles as well, Saki. But in any case, let's go and have a look at zero article first. Okay, this is where we don't use an article. So it's obvious, isn't it? We would never say, a Mrs. Smith or the Mrs. Smith. Okay, we don't say that. Okay, we don't say the it or at it. So there are definitely times when we don't use them. So let's go and have a look. Let's look at zero article first, and then we'll go on and we'll have a look at countable and uncountable. Okay, so things in general. I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree with this. What do you think, guys? Does that make sense?
I agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with this.
You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I did this?
No.
No.
That feels wrong, doesn't it? What if I said this?
No.
No, it doesn't make sense, does it? Because you're asking yourself, which ulcers? Okay, ulcers in general. Okay, Things in general. Have you noticed that it's plural? Zero article here for this one. Okay. Things in general, including countable and uncountable. Pain is not very nice. What do you think about that? Would you agree? Is that?
It makes sense, but
It makes sense. It's perfectly good.
Yeah.
We can use that sentence. That's an absolutely fine sentence. It's not the pain. It's not a pain. It's not the ulcers. It's not a ulcer. Okay. In this case, it's things in general that we don't put articles in front. Things in general. Okay. Monkeys, people. We're not talking about a singular one. That one. We're not talking about a specific one. Okay. We're talking about things in general. Now, sports and hobbies sometimes comes up in OET writing. We sometimes talk about it. Mr. Smith plays football once a week. It's not a football. It's not the football. It's just Mr. Smith plays football. Before hobbies, we generally don't put an article at all.
Thank you.
We've got someone having a chat in the background, guys. If you're chatting in the background, put yourself on mute. Okay, next.
it concept for a football match.
You can say a football match, yeah. But that's different, isn't it? Because now you've got the word match.
Yes, thank you.
Match is countable. Football is also countable.
It's depend on the countable and uncountable. For example, tennis, countable and uncountable.
Tennis is never countable.
For example, we use paracetamol for pain.
Say that again. Say that again.
Paracetamol reduce
Paracetamol.
pain. Paracetamol. We can use paracetamol reduce a pain. And now it's pain is uncountable.
No, you wouldn't use it like that. No, you're not correct there. Who's speaking? I can't see. Is it Belkis?
Belkis, yeah.
So pain is definitely one that we're going to go and talk about. Is it in my? Yeah, it's in my table here, and we'll talk about it. Okay. But it's definitely to do with whether it's countable or uncountable in some situations, yes. And some things can be countable or uncountable in different situations. Football is a really good example. Okay, you know what's another really good example? Is it in my table? I don't think it is. We'll talk about it now. Exercise. Okay, think about the word exercise. People often get this wrong. We get feedback from our marketing team a lot about patterns or trends of errors that people make, and sometimes when the same task is submitted a lot of times and the team are marking it, they see similar mistakes over and over again. Exercise is a great example. Okay. So exercise can be countable or it can be uncountable. Let's talk about it as both.
Yeah.
Okay. So exercise, I'm going to write you a sentence now. Exercise is an important aspect of health. So Belkis, would you agree or disagree with me on that sentence? Are you there, Belkis?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's a, don't forget about the grammar. Do you agree or disagree?
Now it's I'm agree, yes. It's now
agree.
exercise uncountable.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you agree. I thought you were going to disagree for a second. I was thinking, are you a doctor? Okay, all right. An exercise. Okay, the occupational therapist gave Mr. Smith an exercise which will improve his wrist strength. Okay. Now it's countable, isn't it? We know it's countable because we've got an in front of it. And we'll go and look at the indefinite article soon. So now we've got an exercise. Now think about that. What's in your mind? I'm going to ask Farouk, are you there?
Yeah, Paul, I'm here.
What do you think the occupational therapist told Mr. Smith?
And it doesn't matter to put this one. We can say Mr. Smith exercise.
Yeah, but what did the occupational therapist show Mr. Smith?
That exercises help him.
He specified the exercise.
Wait, Hussein. Okay, Farouk. What did the occupational therapist show Mr. Smith?
Shows that an exercise, help him here. Yeah.
But the occupational therapist is not teaching Mr. Smith.
No.
Occupational therapist just showed Mr. Smith.
Yeah, sure. It means help show him. Yeah.
Just one thing, and it's doing this maybe. Okay, that is an exercise. This is another exercise.
Yeah, one particular exercise, for example.
Exactly. Yeah. When you say an exercise, it means one specific set of actions. So this, okay, that is an exercise, and that's another one. That's a different one. Okay, so that's two exercises. That's countable. But this one here is not. This is, in general, the concept, the idea of exercise. If we think about it, what they're really talking about here is cardiovascular exercise, isn't it? What they're talking about is anything which gets your heart rate up, swimming, running, walking up and down the stairs, walking to the shops, playing football, doing the hula hoop.
Cycling.
Okay, that is exercise. Countable is one specific thing. Now, when I go to the gym, I exercise. That's a verb. When I go to the gym, I do exercises. When I go to the gym, I do some press-ups. I do some pull-ups. I do some sit-ups. They are each a type of exercise. They are exercises. And that is a confusing thing for people. And it often comes up in OET. You could say Mr. Smith was advised to exercise, then it's a verb. He was advised to do more exercise, not do more exercises, do more exercise in general. And I think that that's something that people struggle to understand. So exercise is a hobby. It's an uncountable. Does anyone have any questions about?
Yes, Paul, I have a question.
Go on.
But about pen, I have.
Let's wait. We'll talk about pain in a moment. Okay. We will definitely talk about pain. I've got it here in my exercises here. Yeah. All right. Any questions about exercise or sports or hobbies? No? Okay. Times of day. Not all times of day, but some times of day. So Mr. Smith has to wear a wrist splint when?
At night.
At night. It's not at the night, is it? Okay, it's not night. There are some strange, there are some times as well with after some prepositions. Okay, so after some prepositions of place. Okay, so we've got at night, at midday, at dawn.
What we say in the morning?
Well, that one has an article, doesn't it? So that's not zero.
At the evening?
No, it's not. No. It would be the evening, the morning, the afternoon. We'll look at that when we go to the definite article. Okay. So
at noon time. At
noon, yeah, people say at noon. At noon time. No one ever says at noon time. They just say at noon. In fact, in the UK, I don't think anyone ever says noon. We generally say at midday. What's the opposite of midday?
Midnight.
Midnight, yeah, at midnight. How about this? Something that people commonly make errors with, which I completely understand. But where are you when you're sleeping?
Bedroom.
In the bed.
At home.
You're in bed.
Bed. Mm.
You're in bed. You're not in the bed. You're at home. I like it. Yeah. At home. It's not at the home. It's not in the home. Okay. It's in bed. It's at home. I know that's a bit strange, but it commonly happens that people get these wrong. We don't have an article. Remember, these are all zero article. Okay. We don't put an article with uncountable hobbies. Okay, here when we're talking about things in general, we don't put an article at some times of day and also after some prepositions of place. Now, it is possible that you're going to use these in bed, at home, in your OET writing. There are obviously loads and loads of other examples which exist, which we used to go through when this was more of a general language class. But this is about writing. What are we going to use in our writing? Now, I've got an exercise for us to do, okay? And what we're going to do in the exercise is you guys are going to choose where these go, okay? What column am I going to put them in? Remember, the way to think about countable and uncountable is you can count things that are countable. So, for instance, I'm going to do something now, and I want you to tell me which word it relates to in this box.
Off.
Cough. How many times?
2 times.
3 times.
Three, wasn't it?
3
Yeah.
times.
So how many was it? 3.
3 times.
Three bouts of cough.
Three coughs. Okay. So a cough can be countable. And it can be countable in a couple of ways. It can be countable as, I've got a cough at the moment. That means, in general, I keep coughing. You know, I cough a few times a day. Or I just did 2 coughs. All right. So cough goes in countable. You can count them. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a think on you, just write down on your paper, maybe put them into different columns. Sometimes they can go into both. All right. So I'm going to put on the clock. Just go with your instinct, guys. I'm going to put on the clock 2 minutes for you guys to put them into the correct place. All right. So just write them down on your paper. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk to people and we'll try and get some into the right places. Starting now, 2 minutes. If you're watching at home on the stream, on